They do not ignore you because they are blind. They ignore you because they know you will tolerate it. They know you will keep showing up even when they stop respecting you. They know you will answer even after they stop listening. And they know deep down that your kindness is not power, it is hunger. Let that settle. Let it wound the part of you that still believes loyalty is always returned. You were taught to be kind. They were taught to test kind people. This is the mistake, not in your nature, but in your expectation. You believed they would treat you as you treat them. But people do not mirror decency. They mirror power. Now you understand why the silent are feared, why the calm are obeyed, why the cold are rarely crossed. The first step toward becoming mentally unbreakable is not loud. It is quiet. It begins the moment you stop making excuses for how people treat you. Understand this. Most people do not betray you accidentally. They test your threshold. They do not misspeak. They measure your silence. They do not forget. They calculate what you will still accept. To become unbreakable, you must first understand the game. And the game is not fair. It rewards the unreadable, the disciplined, the emotionally opaque. It rewards the ones who see clearly, but say little. This is your first law. Stop announcing your pain. When you show them where it hurts, you give them the map to control you. Do not offer your feelings like an open letter. Keep your wounds dressed in silence. That is how you heal. That is how you grow teeth. Second law, distance is power. You were taught that closeness means connection, but closeness without boundaries leads to erosion. Your time, your focus, your self-respect, all slowly diluted in the name of being available. Do not be available. Be selective. Let them wonder why your presence is no longer automatic. Third law, never explain. The weak explain. The strong disappear. When someone disrespects you and you respond with justification, you are not defending your position. You are begging for re-entry. Do not beg. Vanish. That is how they learn. Let me be precise. This is not about revenge. This is not about hatred. This is about equilibrium. When someone disturbs your peace, your silence is the correction. When someone disrespects your value, your distance is the answer. People respect what they must earn. They devalue what is always there. Stop being always there. You think they will change when you keep showing loyalty. They will not. They only change when your absence makes them confront their own emptiness. This is how the world works. Not how it should work, but how it does. The game is simple. People do not protect what they do not fear losing. If you are always available, you are never needed. If you always explain, you are never respected. And if you always forgive, you are never feared. Do not aim to be feared, but understand the necessity of being unyielding. Respect is born in discomfort. When you enforce consequences with calmness, they will call you cold. Let them. Cold is what happens when warmth is wasted. Let your silence become your verdict. Let your distance become your lesson. Let your peace become your fortress. You will be tested. You will be doubted. You will be misunderstood. But you will not break, because you will no longer play with open cards. You will listen, but reveal nothing. You will observe, but act on your time. You will be present, but detached. Not cruel, not numb, but untouchable. This is the beginning of mental strength. It is not loud, it is not emotional, it is simply unshakable. Most people seek validation before they act. They wait for applause before they speak. They look into the eyes of others to confirm they exist. This is dependency, and dependency breeds fragility. To become mentally unbreakable, you must sever this need. Approval is a drug, and like all drugs, it feels powerful until you realize you cannot function without it. Understand this clearly. The moment you need praise, you become its prisoner. You become easy to control. A compliment lifts you. A criticism ruins you. A look of disapproval breaks you. That is not strength. That is emotional slavery. The powerful man does not wait for validation. He creates consequences. He sets the rhythm of his presence. He knows that his silence, his disinterest, his refusal to chase these are messages. He does not plead. He does not perform. He simply decides. And that decision, when delivered without apology, is final. If you still believe that being understood is your right, you will remain weak. Because most people do not want to understand you. They want to define you. And the more you explain yourself, the more they sharpen their image of you, an image they will use against you when it serves them. Withdraw your explanations. Protect your ambiguity. Let them guess. The unknown commands respect. The familiar invites contempt. This is why kings sit in silence while their enemies reveal everything through speech. The tongue is a traitor to the emotional man. It exposes. It pleads. It confesses. You must train yourself to say little, and when you do speak, speak with purpose, not emotion. You will find that people become uneasy when you do not give them what they expect, when you no longer smile on cue, when you no longer offer apologies for your standards, when you do not bend just to maintain connection. Let them feel uneasy. If they are loyal, they will adjust. If they are not, they will leave. In both outcomes, you win, because you remove false bonds. People who only stay when they can control you were never allies. They were opportunists, and your emotional openness was the gate. Close that gate, not because you are bitter, but because you are strategic. Not because you hate people, but because you understand them. This is your next law. Learn to live in solitude without suffering. Most cannot. They chase distractions, validation, temporary intimacy, anything to avoid the silence of self. But when you can sit alone, unbothered, unshaken, unneeding, you become untouchable. You must learn to detach without anger, walk away without drama, enforce your line without shouting. That is true power, when your presence is felt more in absence than in words. When people begin to ask where you went rather than why you stayed. When your silence causes more discomfort than your speech ever did. This is not cruelty. This is the art of removal, and only those who value you will follow. Those who do not will find someone else to manipulate. Let them. They were never your responsibility. Stop trying to fix those who benefit from your brokenness. Stop trying to teach those who enjoy your confusion. Stop trying to earn love in a place that only trades in leverage. You owe no one your peace. You owe it to yourself. Be still. Be firm. Be watchful. This is not a call to isolation. This is a return to power. Emotional neutrality is not the absence of care. It is the protection of energy. You still feel, but you no longer bleed for free. Observe the people around you. You will see patterns. You will see that most of what they say is not what they mean. It is positioning. It is testing. It is performance. They flatter you when they need access. They criticize you when they feel threatened. They grow silent when they lose interest. If you take this personally, you will never rise. Emotional strength begins when you stop responding to behavior that is meant to provoke you. The weak respond to every word. The strong respond to strategy. The predator does not roar. It waits. It selects. It acts only when the result is certain. This is the mindset you must build. When someone offends you, do not correct them. Let them reveal themselves further. When someone underestimates you, do not protest. Let their arrogance become their blind spot. When someone plays games, do not chase. Disengage. That is how you maintain control. You must stop seeking fairness from people who trade in advantage. There is no honor among those who view kindness as weakness. To them, mercy is a sign to push harder. Calmness is a cue to dominate. But once they feel the edge behind your silence, they adjust or they vanish. Either outcome is purification. Embrace this. Most of what breaks people is not cruelty. It is expectation. They expected someone to apologize. They expected someone to return loyalty. They expected to be seen, heard, acknowledged. But you are not owed any of that. And once you stop expecting it, you become impossible to shake. because the world no longer controls your peace. This is your next law. Control your reactions, and you control your fate. Every time you react emotionally, you feed the illusion of weakness. You confirm that others have access to your center, that they can reach inside and move you. You must become unresponsive, not to life, but to nonsense. Most noise is bait. Let it pass. You will find that people talk less when you stop answering. They stop testing when you stop justifying. They stop assuming when your eyes reveal nothing. You do not have to explain why you left. You do not have to clarify your silence. Your decision is enough. If it is not, then your presence was never truly respected. The world respects boundaries enforced, not boundaries spoken. And your greatest boundary is emotional discipline. You must walk into every room knowing that no one can offend you unless you allow it. No one can manipulate you unless you engage. No one can drain you unless you remain accessible. So become less accessible. Do not reveal your thoughts unless you must. Do not explain your standards unless they are being met. Do not give more than you can lose. It is not selfish. It is strategic. They will call you distant. Let them. They miss the version of you they could mold. They will say you have changed. Good. That means your peace no longer includes their control, and they will test you again and again to see if the new you is real or temporary. This is where most break. They return to the old self for comfort, for approval, for the illusion of connection. But not you. You will not break. You will not fold. You will not step backward to make the weak feel strong. From now on, you will speak less. You will observe more. You will act only when it shifts the balance of power. Let them underestimate you. Let them gossip. Let them wait for your reaction. It will not come, because the mentally unbreakable are not performers. They are tacticians. Weak men fear isolation. Strong men use it as their weapon. When the crowd turns cold, the weak beg for re-entry. They explain. They soften. They plead. But the one who has cultivated silence, who has learned to breathe in solitude, he waits. He watches. He builds leverage. This is your next law. Do not fear being alone. Fear being dependent. Because the one who needs nothing cannot be broken. The one who stands alone cannot be threatened with withdrawal. And the one who has mastered his solitude has mastered himself. The illusion of connection is the chain that keeps most people tame. They cannot walk away because they have built no identity beyond being chosen. They cannot say no because their value depends on staying accepted. But acceptance is not always respect, and presence is not always loyalty. You must stop confusing proximity with importance. There are people who will stand beside you, only to control your next step. There are people who will call you friend, only to soften your defenses. And there are people who will praise you until you stop serving their interest. Detach. You do not owe your loyalty to those who have never proven theirs under pressure. Trust must be tested, and those who panic when you pull back were never stable. They were feeding off your openness, your availability, your hunger to stay close. Let them starve. Let them feel what it means to lose your attention, not with vengeance, but with calm certainty. Because silence does not just protect you, it punishes. When you stop explaining yourself, they are left with their own story. When you stop defending your boundaries, they are forced to confront their own intrusion. When you stop being emotionally readable, their manipulation fails. And that is the turning point. People only play with you when they believe the cost is low. Raise the cost. Not by shouting, not by threats, but by leaving, by refusing to engage, by enforcing space as the response to disrespect. Most people are not used to that. They expect emotional theater. They expect you to fight for your worth. They expect their absence to control you. But when you stay silent, when you do not chase, when you remain still, they lose power. This is your next truth. The most terrifying thing you can become is emotionally invisible. Because when you are no longer reactive, you are no longer predictable. And when you are no longer predictable, you cannot be manipulated. Make peace with being misunderstood. It is a small price for mental freedom. You do not owe clarity to those who twist your words. You do not owe softness to those who test your strength. You do not owe access to those who only show up when it is convenient. Let your boundaries be brutal in silence. Let your standards filter everything. If they rise, they are worth keeping. If they vanish, they were never real. And when they try to return, when they come back with apologies, with new faces, with different words, remember this: the past is proof. Do not read the message, read the pattern. The unbreakable do not forget. They do not hold grudges, but they never return to confusion. Because once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. Once you know your worth, you cannot be bargained with. Let them think you are cold. Let them say you are distant. What they call cold is simply clarity. What they call distant is discipline. You have burned the need to be liked. Now you move in silence. There will come a moment when your silence becomes louder than your presence ever was. When your absence rewrites the dynamics of every room you once tolerated. When those who once ignored your standards begin to measure their words, not out of love, not out of guilt, but because they no longer have access. This is the essence of power: to be calm but not passive, to be distant but not dismissive, to be fully aware, yet emotionally disengaged. Understand this: most people are not afraid of losing you. They are afraid of losing control over you. They do not miss your soul. They miss the power your emotions gave them, your need to be understood, your desire to be heard, your hope for fairness. Strip all of that away. You are no longer here to be understood. You are here to be unreadable, because unreadable men are respected, while emotional men are dissected. This is the next law. Remove your emotional fingerprints from every interaction. Do not reveal your wounds. Do not narrate your intentions. Do not perform clarity for people who weaponize it. Let mystery become your armor. Let doubt become their consequence. Because once people are unsure of what you feel, they must guess. And people do not play games with what they do not understand. Train yourself to be the calmest person in the room, not because you lack fire, but because you have mastered it. Control your tone, master your face. Let your silence suggest intelligence, not absence. Let your refusal to react make others question their approach. In this world, perception is leverage. The one who seems unshaken, even when betrayed, controls the story. The one who walks away without commentary owns the narrative. Do not tell them what you saw. Let your silence imply it. Do not tell them how it hurt. Let your absence define it. And do not tell them they lost you. Let them live in the discomfort of discovering it themselves. You must become the man who enforces respect through distance, not negotiation, through detachment, not confrontation. Because the more you confront, the more you reveal what matters to you, and what matters to you can be used against you. This is not fear. This is calculation. You are no longer here to argue. You are here to observe, to protect, to outlast. Most people confuse access with intimacy. They believe because they see you, they know you. Correct them not with words, but with silence. Your next transformation is simple. Be present, but unreachable. Let them sit beside you and still feel distance. Let them speak, but receive no confirmation. Let them offer bait and starve in silence. You are not a wall. You are a mirror. You reveal only what is shown to you. And if they bring disrespect, they see only their own reflection. You owe them nothing. No clarity, no softness, no reaction. Because once you become mentally unbreakable, you learn the final truth. Respect is not earned through giving more. It is earned through giving less. When you reach a certain level of clarity, the games stop. Not because people stop playing, but because you no longer sit at their table. You have seen too much, heard too much, endured too much. And now, silence has become your strategy, not your surrender. This is your final law. Move as if nothing is owed to you, because in truth, nothing is. Not loyalty, not honesty, not love. These are not entitlements. These are privileges earned, tested, proven. And if someone fails to offer them, you do not correct them. You correct your presence in their life. You do not negotiate value. You demonstrate it through absence. Understand, there is no strength in staying where your worth is questioned. There is no virtue in being endlessly available to those who only remember you when it benefits them. That is not love. That is utility. And the moment you feel like a tool, stop moving. You become mentally unbreakable when you stop needing outcomes to justify your decisions. When you walk away without needing to be missed. When you close a door without waiting for it to reopen. Most people hesitate. They leave a crack, a message unanswered, a silence that begs to be filled. That is weakness. That is hope masquerading as strategy. Shut the door. Lock it. Move on. Because power does not come from how many people want you. It comes from how few can shake you. Now listen closely. They will return, not because they changed, but because you did. Your silence will intrigue them. Your distance will confuse them. Your emotional neutrality will force them to question everything they thought they controlled. Do not open the door, not because you are angry, but because you are done. Let the past knock. Let it speak through old names and familiar patterns. Let it circle the edges of your peace like a wolf pretending to be harmless. You have already seen the teeth behind the smile. Never return to confusion. Never trade your clarity for comfort. And never mistake a second chance for transformation. A snake that sheds its skin is still a snake. Walk forward, without apology, without explanation, without weakness, because now you understand the truth most never learn. Being mentally unbreakable does not mean you feel nothing. It means nothing controls you. You feel pain, but do not react to it. You see betrayal, but do not chase after it. You sense lies, but do not dignify them. You simply remove yourself. And in that removal, you teach the lesson that words never could. You are not to be explained. You are to be experienced once, then remembered. When absence becomes unbearable, that is power. That is silence. That is freedom.